This has been an ordeal for me since May of 2019. When I saw something, I said something, and then Nygard and some of his corporate enablers silenced me within the company. 6 months later, civil suit came out, and it gave a voice to the voiceless, a way for people to see that they weren't alone, a way for myself and others to see that there was a very disturbing pattern of behavior that he was being accused of, and to examine how it was that so many people that were coming forward didn't have a chance to have their voices heard. As you examine this case, you'll see systematically voices being silenced. Whether it was a news report in Winnipeg that was shut off in the 90s that could have changed everything, other folks who had come forward who were threatened with lawsuits where only recourse they had was to defend themselves, and if they won, they don't get any sort of financial relief from that. They just have a bill. And those tactics, along with other tactics, such as a jurisdiction loophole he took advantage of in the Bahamas, where he was assaulting people and they had no way to press charges. You find out the Bahamian police were bringing people back to his compound after they escaped, just to have them come back to Canada or the USA and speak with police, just to have them say that they have to work it out with the Bahamian police. Well, that's not an option.
How are you feeling of the verdict today?
1 second, please. So, over the course of this period of time, especially after that civil suit came out, it was a very intense 10 months where we didn't know if he was going to be a flight risk or not, and we had the information that this was a very dangerous and sick person. I personally was absolutely heartbroken when I found out this information. I was heartbroken to find out that there were something like 12 or 13 accused enablers, executives that I knew who, according to the civil suit, knew or should have known something was going on. But what this also says is that when you do come forward, when you go to the police, there is a path towards justice. And I'd like to encourage anyone who's watching this who is a victim of abuse to see if you can find that strength. Because these individuals who came forward, they were qualified to come forward. Many people didn't qualify to come forward. So they're really speaking for all of them. And sometimes I'll read comments on some of these articles and I'll see people say things like, oh, how brave, you came out 30 years later. Well, you don't understand what they're up against. How would you like it if you had a massive lawsuit that they might take away your house or threaten to ruin your life if you came forward? So as Canadians, and I am a Canadian, I'm a dual citizen, we can use this situation to examine what happened and how we can look at the system to make it easier for survivors to come forward of abuse. And I want to give you something, a little scale most of you don't know. The scale of this crime and his actions, when you look at the civil suit, you look at accusers who weren't in the civil suit, former employees who wanted to come forward and don't want anything to do with money, just want to have justice. He has more formal accusations than Epstein, Weinstein, and Cosby combined. This is a victory for all of those in Winnipeg who came forward, who were denied justice. I'm thinking about Serena Hicks, thinking about Casey Allen, April Tellick, who does have a day in court, acknowledging Shannon Maroney for her work that she's done behind the scenes, tirelessly working behind the scenes to help survivors, and all of those who care about justice and are open to the idea of stopping predators from abusing and targeting children, using drugs to abuse women, and using tactics like jurisdiction loopholes or threats of lawsuit to silence their victims.